What's up, nerds? And here I am today to do an absolutely riveting and exciting manga collection overview. Only I'm going to start over here. I'm just going to do a quick little spiel, going over all the manga I have, and I'm going to give like my 30 seconds thoughts on each series because I can't help myself. I like talking about manga. I'll probably wind up, rambling longer than that for certain series, but I'll do my best to keep it to a minimum. But yeah, without further ado, let us begin. We have Futaba for some reason, and then Black Clover 1 through 28. That is up to date, I believe. I'm not gonna lie, Black Clover's story is pretty subpar. Its villains are not that good, but it makes up for it with just being, it's basically a series you just read for mages fighting each other with really good art and really good action. Like, that is basically what you read Black Clover for. It has a really good cast of characters as well. Like, there are some characters that are very good, but for the most part, you're reading Black Clover because it's just very fun magic fights, which it does that very well. Black Torch 1 through 5, that's the whole series. Not gonna lie, this is a very underrated shonen in my opinion. I think it deserved a lot more love. I think it had a very interesting premise. The villain was really good. And I just really wanted to see more of the world and the characters, but unfortunately it just didn't catch on, I guess. I think some people thought it was too fast paced, but I actually liked that aspect about it. I liked how fast it was moving and how, quick the plot was going along, but oh well. I still really like it, and if you've never heard of it, I do recommend you give it a try at least. And of course, Demon Slayer, the whole series 1 through 23, as well as the little side manga. Demon Slayer is very special to me. It's definitely like one of my favorite animes. Like, it's just god tier animation stuff, but the manga is also just really good. It's just really easy to get into. All the characters are like, well, for the most part, almost all of the characters are like really likable. And yeah, it's like, what do I really need to say about Demon Slayer? It's a very good series. It's very special to me for some reason. And yeah, I just really like it. It's very good. Jujutsu Kaisen 0, that's 3 equal, and then 1 through 14. Probably my favorite ongoing shonen manga right now. Just a really good all around, like, there's no aspect of it that's bad. Really good power system, really good pacing, characters are great. I love the whole atmosphere of it, and eagerly looking forward to the movie as well. But yeah, it's probably the shonen I'm like looking forward to see it progress the most right now. So just good old Jujutsu Kaisen. Everybody likes Jujutsu Kaisen. Frieren, Beyond Journey's End 1 and 2. If you like sort of a fantasy world journey style manga where a group of heroes go on adventures and a journey throughout the world, and it's almost like a coming of age story in a weird way, then seriously consider this. If you like honestly, if you just like fantasy in general, you should really consider giving this a try, because it's one of those almost rare like manga that's actually just a pure fantasy, original fantasy world, and it does revolve around magic a lot as well. But yeah, it's very nice. It's very pleasant a lot of times, comical a lot of times, and even some good action in there. So yeah. And then we have Kaiju number 8, volume 1. Kind of like a little in the dark here. It's being shadowed by Golden Kamai's huge spines. But Kaiju number 8, also very, very good ongoing shonen. It's of course gonna, it's like broken records with how quickly popular it's become. I'm still shocked that this kind of premise of like a Kaiju shonen manga hasn't been done before, or hasn't been done in a really long time. Like, really surprised by that. Definitely like probably one of my top 5 favorite ongoing shonen right now. It's just all very, really good. And I really like that the protagonist is like, like 30 something years old. That's cool. After, reading a lot of shonen, you kind of get a little tired of seeing, every main shonen character being basically the same age, but I mean, what can you do? Very good. Golden Kamuy, 1 through 24 minus volumes 2 and 3. A lot of people, usually whenever you see like people talk about like underrated series or hidden gem series, Golden Kamuy is brought up a lot, and I can see why. It is a very unique premise as far as manga goes. It has a very great cast of characters. The villain's great, the protagonist is great. You learn a lot about, like, Ainu culture. Hopefully I didn't butcher that pronunciation, but yeah, it's like, and it's also like very kind of like a historical setting in a way. Very good. And also, you know, you can also watch the anime. I think it has like 3-4 seasons. But yeah, and also just like the spines look so pretty on the shelf. It's very good. Recommend it. Moriarty the Patriot 1-4. If you like sort of deduction and mystery, then you'll like this. You know, mind games, stuff of that sort. This is all very good at that. And I do like, you know, some good deduction every now and then. It took forever for me to get volume 2 though. It was like on back order for ages, but I think I'm actually not caught up on this. I think it's like up to volume 6 right now, so. But I was waiting for volume 2 to finally arrive so I can finish reading the rest, because a lot of the times what I do with manga is I'll read a little bit online to determine if I think it's a series I'll like. And if it is a series I'll like, if there's physical English versions, I'll buy those, then read them. Because I like to read physically when possible, but you know, you don't want to buy a whole series if you don't know if you're gonna like it or not. But yeah, anyways, yeah, great series. You should read if you like mystery or deduction and stuff. Dr. Stone 1-20. Probably the series that more so than any other series that my opinion greatly changed on. Like, I initially tried watching the anime way far back, like season 1. Couldn't get into it, and then like a year later I tried reading the manga for some reason, and I was able to get into it a lot easier. I think it's because the like humor aspects of Dr. Stone were a lot more upfront and in your face in the anime. You know, all the silly anime reactions and stuff, whereas in the manga, you know, it's just a single panel and you can keep going on at a steadier pace. I don't know, maybe that doesn't make sense when I say it out loud, but Dr. Stone seriously gets really, really good. Like, some of the later arcs are just so well done, and it's pretty sure it's like going to be ending soon. So like it genuinely went from like a manga, like a series I just didn't really care about, to now it's probably like up my top 3 favorite ongoing shonen right now. So, and yeah, its final arc is really good. So yeah, very good, unique series, great, love it. Good Dr. Stone. Spy X Family. I just realized this is out of order. I will fix it later because, yeah, I'll just fix it after this. So I don't know why 1 is over there. Probably because I reorganized it not too long ago. So 1-6. What I need to say about Spy X Family? Yeah, wholesome, very, very easy series to enjoy. Has a little bit of something for everybody. It's just good. It's Spy X Family. The anime also is probably gonna draw even more attention to it. So good stuff. Promised Neverland 1-20. A little bit down here. I'll have to sit down. Yeah, Promised Neverland's, you know, I agree that later on, like the last third of the series, it kind of loses its way a bit. But I don't think I disliked the ending and that last, you know, whole part of the series as much as a lot of people did. I still thought it was good, but it definitely wasn't, you know, amazing like the first, you know, 10 volumes or so. And, you know, Golden Pond arc, all those, there's a lot. It's still a great series though. It's series with very unique premises like this that make me, you know, it's like, look at Promised Neverland. And, you know, it does so many things right. And I wish that we had more cool premises like this, but yeah, even if it lost its way a bit in third on the, you know, the last parts of the series, it's still just really good overall. Twin Star Exorcists 1-14 there, and then I have to migrate over to the next bookshelf, and then we have up to 24. Definitely one of the most underrated, underappreciated shonens out there. It's just, if you just like battle shonen in general, you should really consider reading Twin Star Exorcists. It's just, you know, does a lot of battle shonen things well. It does, you know, have some, you know, similar tropes you'll have from those type of shows, but if you like battle shonen, you should definitely like Twin Star Exorcists. Absolutely god tier art. Also, like, one thing I didn't mention about Dr. Stone earlier is, like, why does no one talk about the art in that series? It's so good. But anyways, you know, pretty much every manga I have is great art to some extent. But yeah, Berserk just has amazing art. Very good action, just, I don't know, just does a lot of things right. I'm surprised it's not talked about more. I will mention the anime, not good. Manga is good, it's different. They're not the same, so, you know, consider that. But, yeah, it's in its last arc as well. So, I mean, at this point, you might as well, if for some reason you are considering reading it, then I would just wait at this point and just, then try reading it once it's actually finished in, a year. Because even though it's in its last arc, because it's updated monthly, it takes a really long time, so at this point, I'm just waiting for it to finish, and then I'm just gonna binge the whole last arc, basically, at some point. Which is basically starting around volume 24, 25, so there's probably only gonna be up to 26, 27 volumes, so it's definitely almost done, I think. And now, we have the rom-com section. The section for truly sophisticated individuals like myself. I'm gonna try to go over these, it's gonna say all the names, and we'll go from there. Daily Report About My Witch Senpai, Volume 1. Hitomi-chan, Volumes 1 and 2. My Lovey-Dovey Wife is a Stone Cold Killer, Volume 1. Some of these names, I swear. Furry-san, Volumes 1 and 2. Dangers in My Heart, Volumes 1, 2, and 3. Who Says Warriors Can't Be Babes, Volumes 1, 2, and 3. Yes. Elder Sister Like 1, Volumes 1 through 5. Maid Eye Hires Recency. I cannot talk anymore. I'm actually dying. Volumes 1 and 2. Nagatoro, Volumes 1 through 9. Quintessential Quintuplets, Volumes 1 through 12. That's 12, right? That's 12. Yeah, you can probably tell my favorite character is. Yeah. Quintessential Quintuplets, Volumes 1 through 12. Just. Miku, just. Okay. Very good. Okay. And We Never Learn, 1 through 20. Past me would have never, ever in a million years expected to get into rom-com mangas, but what can I say? Did I even mention As Miss Beelzebub Likes? I don't think I did. That's 1 through 12. Also wholesome. But yeah, never would have expected I would get into a series like this. But what can I say? There's a certain charm. They're wholesome, they're fun, they're just pleasant to read in a lot of aspects. I could go through each of these individually, but for the most part, I like all of them for the similar reasons. They're cute, they're wholesome, they're pleasant, they're funny. Yes, there's some mild ecchi parts in there as well. I'm not gonna lie, that can sometimes be good. But even without that, it's, they're all just really nice to read. I don't really know if I have a favorite, rom-com to pick out of these, The most well-known of these are We Never Learn, Quintessential Quintuplets, and of course Nagatoro. Pretty much everybody knows of, especially these two. I mean, everybody knows of these two, but I really like all of them. And yeah, it's again, I could go individually through these series, but for the most part, I genuinely highly recommend all of these. Sure, there's some I probably slightly recommend more over others, but if you like cute, wholesome, rom-coms, then you should, I recommend it. All of these things we just went over. So, moving on, we have Bungo Stray Dogs, 1 through 20. Kind of an interesting take on basically, the quirk system for, just, for my hero. Of just, every character having one specific power that does one thing, or that does one set of things, And, but of course, a very different world, very different setting. I'm not saying it's inspired by it by any means, I'm just using it as a comparison. It's a pretty good shonen overall. It does suffer from certain tropes happening far too often to the point where the series becomes very predictable in certain aspects. I'm not necessarily talking about the grand plot becoming predictable. I'm talking about certain outcomes for individual fights and situations becoming very predictable, you think someone, makes it seem like someone's going to escape only for them to get hit by something by the last second. It makes it seem like someone dies, but it turns out they lived. Stuff like that. It happens all the time to the point where it's okay, that character isn't actually dead because this is the 10th time this has happened. We're going to see them alive later at some point, and sure enough. And, oh, this character is going to get away. They're scot-free. It's oh, okay, they actually got hit by an attack the last second. The stuff like that just happens too often. But even still, it's a good show, and overall, it's just, it really needs to work on those tropes happening way too often, but I haven't read past volume 20, I've only read the physical version, so I do think the current, you know, main story isn't a good arc right now, so I do think it's good. It's just, I wish it worked on those aspects, that's all. So, Drifting Dragons 1 through 10. I would definitely, I don't know what that sound is. Can you hear that? I don't know, it's like an alien outside. Anyways, Drifting Dragons 1 through 10. I would definitely classify this as a hidden gem series. Very original setting, very great premise and world. Basically sort of a medieval fantasy world, and you're following a group of people who have like a skyship of sorts. And they're like, you know, going around hunting dragons, selling their meat, selling their oil. And yeah, I'm trying to think of something to compare it to, but I really just can't think of anything. Yeah, it's just really good. You could probably just look at the front cover and get a general idea. And yeah, it's basically a group of skyfaring dragon hunters. And yeah, I'm actually like describing the core plot more in detail because chances are you haven't heard of this one. But seriously, give it a try. It's very nice, weirdly pleasant, and just great set of characters as well. I like it. Okay, it's a little hard to get this over here because it's kind of in the corner here, but we have Eminence and Shadow 1 and 2. One of those parody isekai shows. Just really, really good humor. The protagonist is absolutely amazing with some of the nonsense he pulls. But yeah, it's in a lot of ways it's like a parody of the harem isekai, you know, stuff you tend to see a lot of. And yeah, it's really creative with some of its humor, so. And it's gonna get an anime, so, you know, that'll draw more attention to it. But yeah, it's really good. And here we have something that is also very special to me. We have Goblin Slayer 1 through 10. We have Goblin Slayer Side Story 1 through 5. Goblin Slayer Brand New Day 1 and 2. Goblin Slayer Dai Katana Side Story 2, 1 and 2. And I also have the novels in my closet. The only series I actually got the novels for because I wanted to figure out what happened next. And to do that, I had to buy the novels. Anyways. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Goblin Slayer. I'm a huge sucker for like sort of a classic fantasy style more than, you know, taking an, you know, anime style spin on it. Not an anime style spin on it. Because if anything, part of the reason I like Goblin Slayer because it's not overly anime in some ways. But anyways, yeah, I just love the world of Goblin Slayer. I love the sort of dark Dungeons and Dragons style fantasy world. It's just really, it hits all the marks for me. I love how it's brutal. It's not afraid to be brutal. It's not afraid to show what a world like this would be like with the guild and the adventurers and all that, how that would actually function and work, and, you know, making a story out of that. It doesn't have a super in-depth plot, but it doesn't need to. You know, it's very, you know, fun and enjoyable, intense, you know, without even needing that. And yeah, it's like, it's just very good. Side Stories is, you know, a great dark prequel. Brand New Day is kind of just okay. It's kind of just a few the like side story moments from the novels like turned into a manga. And then we have Dai Katana, which Dai Katana, seriously, if you like Goblin Slayer, read this for the love of God. This side manga feels like it was made for me, honestly. Take the sort of Dungeons and Dragons style, you know, classic fantasy stuff that I mentioned. Take that, and that's like, you know, this isn't even tied to Goblin Slayer himself. This is like a prequel set far in advance, but the atmosphere and feel of Dai Katana just, again, it feels like it was made for me. A group of adventurers in this, you know, fantasy town going through this dungeon. It's just, I don't know. I could go on, but I'd want to ramble for too long. But so if you like Goblin Slayer, if you like sort of classic fantasy, dark fantasy stuff, Dai Katana is really good. Again, I would read like 50 volumes of this. It feels like it was made for me. So good. Base Goblin Slayer is great too, but yeah. You could probably tell, big fan of Goblin Slayer. Anyways, moving on, we have How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom 1, 2, and 3. I'm not a big isekai guy, not gonna lie. I don't really know what caused me to start reading this series because the title alone doesn't seem like something I would want to read. Turns out it's some very interesting series. Basically take a 5-head, put him in a fantasy world, have him rebuild a kingdom. That's the gist of it. And you learn, and you know, has a lot of politics, a lot of, you know, war planning and stuff like that. And that's a specific niche that I'm a really big fan of. It's like fantasy medieval war. you know, kind of sort of vaguely similar to like Fire Emblem as a comparison more people will be familiar with. I'm a big fan of the sort of medieval fantasy war stuff. You know, but with this you have a lot of politics and economics and stuff like that as well. And it's really, really interesting, and I'm really glad I decided to just randomly give it a shot because, yeah, I really like it. Good stuff. If any of what I said sounds good, then consider reading it. Next, Inspector, volumes 1 through 14. Similar to what I said about Moriarty the Patriot. What did I just say earlier? If you like deduction and mystery, I think Inspector is one of the best series out there for that. In particular, I think the anime is like up to volume 6. I start to really like it after the first main arc, funnily enough. Like volume 7 and beyond, it's more like short story. It's more, you know, self-contained stories, you know, rather than one big arc, I guess, kind of. Depends on the volume, but there's a lot. Anyways, I don't know, it's like, if you like paranormal mystery and lots of deduction and dialogue, but very good at explaining things, then that's probably not a good way to describe it. I'm not sure how else to describe it. Just, if you like mystery, if you like paranormal, read Inspector. I promise you it's very good. And I do think it's better in manga form, but you definitely have to be someone who likes reading and following along, because there's a lot of stuff to keep track of, and dialogue and deduction, and I probably said that 3 times already. I'm tired. Okay, Lord Marksman Vanis, 1 through 10. Take what I said about how Real Steel rebuilt the kingdom, but focus more on the fantasy medieval war aspects of it, and less on the economics, and, well, there's still a lot of politics as well, but this is more focused on the, you know, the war and the fantasy aspects and stuff. And fun enough, this is the first manga I collected, and I'm pretty sure I've only ever seen like one other person have this. I really, really like this manga, and I never see anybody talk about it. I would definitely qualify it as a hidden gem. It's just similar to Goblins. Not the manga itself isn't similar to Goblin Slayer, but I mean, it's like it's another manga that hits all the right marks for me. In a different way. I really wish it kept going, because it definitely could have, but it just didn't garner that widespread attention. But yeah, if you like stuff like, you know, Fire Emblem, Realist Hero for fantasy medieval war stuff, it's very good. It's very good. Trust me. It's great. I wish it kept going. I wish there was more content from this world that I could consume, but as far as I know, these 10 manga is all I have available. But yeah, it's very good. I like it a lot. Love of Kill, volumes 1 through 5, sort of mafia style manga. Trying to think of more widespread terms for it, but it's good. I liked it. I'm trying to think of like a more broad way to describe it, but I can't really think of how to do so without, you know, just going into the in-depth plot and rambling for too long, which I've already been doing. But yeah, if you like stuff, if you like sort of, you know, mafia, gangster, you know, shady organizations type stuff, actions, guns, you'll like that. Magus of the Library, 1 through 5. Also another series that's definitely a hidden gem. If you're someone who's like fond of books and learning and just books in general, then this series is like perfect for you. Definitely one of the most original manga I've read. Very unique premise, very unique world, great character building, great world building. Seriously a magical series. Why this is not talked about more, I don't know, because it's really, really damn good. The art is just god tier. Mitsu's art is just out of this world, seriously. And yeah, seriously, consider reading Magus of the Library. It's great. It's like fantasy. If you like books, if you like just good storytelling, it's good. It's good. It's great. Trust me. Seventh Garden, also by Mitsu, is volumes 1 through 8. Not gonna lie, I've yet to finish this series. I've only read like volumes 1 and 2, so I can't really say a lot about it. It's like lots of religious themes, demons and angels. But I still haven't finished it. So it's pretty good from what I've read so far. And yeah, I can't really say much more beyond that. now we have the hidden manhwa in the manga collection. We have Solo Leveling and The Breaker. Solo Leveling, I think, is okay so far. I think it depends on where it goes from here, whether I'll really like it or kind of if my interest will fall off. We'll see. We'll see. I know a lot of people like Solo Leveling. I'm just not sure yet. The Breaker, however, is just a really good all-around, you know, action series. Highly recommended. Unwanted Adventure 1 and 2. If you like classic, you know, original fantasy worlds, like Goblin's there, you'll probably like this. Very good overall. Again, I'm a sucker for like original fantasy worlds that actually make use of their worlds and try to build their worlds. We need more of those, and I feel like we don't have enough, and there's too many like trash filler isekais, not nearly enough actually original good fantasy stories like this. And Goblin's there, and Magus of the Library, and, you know, so on. I can keep going on, but yeah, you get the point. It's good. It's good, trust me. Record of Ragnarok, Volume 1. Really glad this finally got an English release. You know, it is essentially, in a lot of ways, like buff dudes fighting each other, but there's also a lot of, you know, storytelling of historical figures and mythological figures, and, you know, obviously it's not exactly historically accurate, but that's not the purpose. It's fun, it's good, it's just really easy to enjoy and watch the fights, and, you know, how these fighters got to where they are, and the art is absolutely amazing. Good stuff. Succubus and Hit Man. Don't let the title fool you, this is not action ecchi series. It's actually like a pretty dark action series in a lot of ways, and has really good like choreography and fight scenes. I know, it's probably not what you expect with any manga that has Succubus in the title, but surprisingly, yeah, it's very interesting. It's also technically a reincarnation story, but not in the typical way. It's like a hitman. Well, actually, I don't want to spoil it, but you know, you'll know what I mean if you read like the first few pages. But yeah, really just surprisingly good, like action series. I don't know. I haven't like read much of it. There's only volume 1, but so far it's pretty damn good. Way of the House Husband 1 through 7. As you can tell, I need to start finding ways to make more room. Probably my favorite comedy series. I'm normally, like when I read rom-coms, the actual comedy aspects of it, I usually don't find super funny, but I still find it enjoyable nonetheless. Way of the House Husband is genuinely just like a pure comedy manga, and it's so good. It's so funny. And that's a lot coming from me, because I don't find like many manga or anime funny like at all. Like it's really hard to hit those marks for me, but Way of the House Husband is just really, it's really good in that regard. Wish the anime got better treatment, but, you know, oh well. The manga is still great, and yeah. Tokyo Ghoul 1 through 13 minus volume 6. Hidden gem of the series, you probably haven't heard of it. It's pretty good though. Witch Hat Atelier 1 through 8. One of the most original fantasy worlds with some of the best world and character building I've ever read. It almost feels like a Studio Ghibli, you know, type thing with the atmosphere and aesthetic it delivers. Seriously, really, really good original fantasy world. Definitely consider reading it. It's very, very good. Why does nobody talk about it? Seriously, it's great. 20th Century Boys 5 through 11. I am waiting eternally for volumes 1 through 4 to get here. Maybe in the next year, I'll finally get them and I can read them physically. But, you know, everyone knows 20th Century Boys is a masterpiece. It's absolutely genius author. Great stuff. You should read it if you haven't already. Berserk, Deluxe Editions 1 through 9. This is going to be a controversial take, but Berserk is my favorite series of all time. I know, it's shocker. Guts is also my favorite protagonist of all time. I know, also a shocker. But yeah, if for whatever reason you haven't read Berserk yet, just read Berserk, man. I actually read Berserk a month after Guitar Mira passed away. And I was like, you know, even though now I know for sure it's going to forever stay an unfinished masterpiece, I need to read Berserk already. And over the span of a month, I read it. I'm like, yeah, all right, yeah, that's my favorite series ever now. Okay, sure. Yeah, it's great. Just read Berserk. It's so good. It's so good. Everybody knows Berserk is great, but even still, I feel the need to stress that it's so great. It may be unfinished forever. Obviously, it's very unfortunate what happened to Kantara, but still, it may be unfinished forever, but it is an unfinished masterpiece in every sense of the word. Blade of the Immortal, 1 through 4 deluxe editions. Not gonna lie, I haven't made it too far into this yet, but pretty interesting from what I've read so far. The pacing seems kind of odd, but you know, it seems like a series I'll like, so yeah. And then we have some final random things like the last name 21. Oh, 20, that's 21st Century Boys. But yeah. And then we have Abara, which is like a weird standalone series that was very hard to follow, and I honestly didn't like that much, but it's cool in some aspects. You know, it's a neat premise and stuff. It's just, it's like purposely hard to follow, like really hard to follow, and really, really weird pacing. Basically doesn't even have an ending. I get what they're going for, but it was a bit too weird for me. Another pretty good. And then Bravely second art book for some reason. And there you go. That is the manga collection. We also have some figures, because I do, like me, some detailed figures. Not gonna name them, but if you know who you probably know who most of these characters are. Hopefully, maybe, yeah. So yeah, another manga collection. Hopefully you have a good day, and I'm gonna go, yeah.